shares now from Web 2 and Web 3. Are you excited for that? Okay, so I love this topic that we have because it is nowhere related to something I don't know. So that's great. It is Asia the home for the next digital nation and what's coming next? First, I would like to introduce our panelists. Manit, the man of the hour, CEO of the BNRY Holdings. Rohit Raj, CEO of Done Deal, someone who can help us get acquired and get some funding. That's great. Jack, the founder of Knightsbridge Capital. Read a lot about you in the morning, Jack, and would love to learn. Kamal Sharma, Senior Vice President and Executive Head of International Business of Hungama. And hi, I'm going to be hosting this panel. I'm Diksha Dwivedi, the founder of YOSO Media. We are into personal branding for founders and leaders. So let's just go all in, right? So my first question, I travel a lot abroad, and I've been asked many times, and Kamal, I would like to know if you're also asked many times, that why don't countries in Asia have path-breaking digital products, right? I've been asked many times for India, like, hey, Uber is there, so Ola came in. Airbnb is there, so Oyo rooms happened. And then UPI came. And that technology is being distributed around the world, and by 2028 to 2030, we will be in 20 countries, right? Kamal, what do you think about that? Where are we when it comes to this question around the world?
Diksha, first of all, thank you so much for this overdose of 2.5 and Web 3.0. There were two sessions we've been hearing, and I was sitting out there and trying to, because I come from a background which is telecom operator and media and entertainment space, and I'm sure the audience out here is not largely from telco, but largely from the other part of the world and the industries. What brings me here to, first of all, I mean, we've been exploring many things with TBH here. And thanks to Manit and thanks to Sahi, my great friend, we know for about more than 2 decades now in the industry. And rightly, I think, put forward, as you say, that you've taken an example of India. India is known for, I think, one of the largest digitally run economy now. And again, the payment gateways that we're talking is UPI, you know. I think, I don't know how much of you guys already know the amount of transaction India does a day. Any guesses? I mean, anybody? Yeah, it's about 600 million transactions a day, amounting to about $9.7 billion. I mean, I'm just quoting a few of the numbers, which I remember last. And guys, don't do ChatGPT. ChatGPT, if you challenge, this is wrong, ChatGPT will say, oh, sorry, let me correct the numbers. So somebody said on the stage that, yeah, do your own research. We are not the expert. We're trying to put our perspective forward. And when it comes to me as Kamal, I'll try and share my perspective of telecom industry, how we have evolved over last 2.5 decades. I'd like to also take the opportunity to sort of share my view, the world before and after COVID, how we have evolved, and sort of telecom industry and the ISPs literally have helped us thrive our businesses, isn't it? Sitting at home, you know, I think the connectivity was the only sort of medium that we could connect with the world, doing, you know, video web conferences and then discuss our businesses. So all of that put together, in my view, I think telco, it is not just the simple dumb pipe. I was discussing with somebody there during the break. So telco continues to be there. This industry obviously is struggling in terms of redefining their business strategies. And that is something which most of the leaders, where I've been a part of a couple of forums where we discuss how do we really relook at the telco as a business. And I'm sure people from Middle East, people here from Southeast Asian part of the world, telcos are considering themselves to be an enterprise business, not just the telco as a pipe or just a SIM provider, right? And when I say that, let me put forward my references. In fact, the best example I can quote here is Africa market. I mean, Kenya is a great market, right? We all know there's a wallet called M-Pesa, which is run by a telco. But I don't know how many of you know already that the GDP versus the transaction that M-Pesa does as on today is actually 2x the GDP of the transaction that M-Pesa handles. So that's the scale that telcos are looking at. And when it comes to Asia, I'm coming to the topic. I'm sure there are questions out there. And Diksha will not let me continue. So I'll stop here, probably share my views as we move forward. Yeah?
Sorry, I needed the mic too. Manit, my next question is to you, actually. I was listening to the previous panel, okay. And obviously it struck me when Ryan and Steve said that Web 2.5 is, and I want to know in this context how it helps, right? They said that it doesn't matter, it's either on-chain or off-chain. It's basically Web3 but hidden, right? I wanted to know from you that how is Web 2.5 and how Kamal has talked about telecom, right? It is an important part of this evolution. How does it help Web 2.5 in terms of us going at God's speed in terms of being a digital nation in Asia?
So the way I look at it is, Asia has some of the youngest population in the world, number one. Number two, as Ryan, Steve, everybody spoke about, that people don't need to know about it. That's exactly correct. They don't need to know about it because the moment you tell them, they're going to be scared because all the scams that they've heard about, a common man is scared. They don't want to enter this industry. So without them knowing about it, the young population, either the distribution pipe is through a telco, through a bank, through an OTT, through a game, they all get a digital identity already created in form of a crypto wallet, which is a unique ID for each user. So identity, not letting people know. And now imagine when these guys start transacting in form of loyalty points or in-game tokens or assets or whatever it is, it starts getting recorded on chain. So it's a ledger. It starts getting recorded. So ultimately what happens is a digital nation gets created very similar to a normal nation. In a normal nation, you have governance. Same thing, in a digital nation, you can also have governance in form of DAOs. In a normal nation, you have a social security card or you have a passport or you have an identity. Similarly, in a digital nation, you have a unique ID which does not have a name attached to it. Your unique ID is potentially your crypto wallet, number two. Number three, in a traditional nation, transactions are recorded on bank statements. They're recorded in simple transaction materials. Similarly, in a digital nation, because of being on blockchain, they're all recorded on the chain. Number four, in a traditional industry, we pay everything with cash. That is where the digital nation needs to expand. The moment we add the next billion, 2 billion, 3 billion users onto it, suddenly the user, without really knowing that they are using a crypto token, they're actually paying that token or loyalty for buying a cup of coffee, for paying for a top-up, for paying for a game of pool, paying for esports, paying for so many things, right? The moment you start doing that, it becomes the true form of digital nation. So why I see Asia becoming the home to the next digital nation is because I think the Asian countries are more poised to adopt the technology much faster. They don't have the complexities and the madness of the Western world. And also, I think, unlike the US dollar domination, I think the Asian countries are trying to come up with their own variant of currency, which probably might not happen. But that is why the concept of introducing CBDCs or stable coins per country pegged to their own currency is now coming into norm. And that is where I believe that Asia is probably poised to become the next digital nation in the world, with multiple players participating and making sure that things flow more seamlessly and fluidly.
No, that's perfect. If I could just a follow-up question, and then maybe Jack can answer the next question. How do you think Asia is uniquely positioned to take advantage of this infrastructure?
1.2 billion people, unbanked, underbanked.
Perfect answer.
Right? Government needs data, everybody needs data. The best way to get data is give them tokenized loyalty points, let them use it, data is recorded, and you exactly know where they're making the payments. It's as good.
That makes sense. Actually, from here, I would ask Rohit a question, because you just talked about 1.2, 1.3 billion people, right? And obviously, Rohit, you deal with so many startups, and I'm sure you must be coming across so many digital products coming up, and must be finding out about new products. And everyone in India says you can sell anything to so many people. Just make something and you sell it. What do you think that, what role does startup ecosystem play in this, in this evolution, that the next wave of innovation, digital innovation will come from Asia? What is the role that India would be playing in, or the startup ecosystem will be playing in this?
I mean, like you rightly said, 1.2 billion people, but for the longest time, the misnomer has been that Asia or India, whatever, if you look at it, is a place for daily active users and not necessarily a place for ARPU, right? So revenue has not come out from these 1.2 billion users. Now I think the larger play is to try and extract that money out from, and how that is happening. I mean, there's a considerable shift, like you were mentioning earlier. Building that trust and getting people into these transactional mode is one thing. If you look at the insights into the consumers, there's a slight bit of difference when I compare it with the West. What we have noticed largely, for example, the fear of privacy, right? I don't think that that exists. The privacy paranoia doesn't exist in Asia. People are okay with sharing far more data than they can, which then leads to far more personalization that we're able to build into products that we're coming out with. And that personalization is adding that level of trust going forward. So while we've always been known for DAO and not for ARPU, I think that's slowly shifting, and this is shifting through this trust mechanism that we're building in. One thing to be wary of, though, is we're also very, we're very fluid when it comes to loyalty. So we switch loyalties very easily. So it's just because you are market leader today, it doesn't mean that you will be tomorrow and somebody can't disrupt you. So that's something that, as a trend, I've seen noticed with a lot of startups there.
Absolutely. There's so much variable in terms of how you can build trust and credibility. But follow-up question, if you had to give like a ratio of how many these products are making for the world versus for India, what would be that? 78-30%, 60-40%?
I mean, very culturally driven, smaller, I mean, we call it ridiculously small TAMs.
Yeah.
There are some which are starting at that point and then expanding in. So this super app ecosystem is something that's been built out now, but it's starting from the point of saying, let me solve one problem for a very small audience. And once I get them and I get their trust into it, I can then expand. So you've seen, like you rightly said earlier, VCs are no longer funding the Uber of Asia or whatever. Now, what is new in this? So I'll give you an example of a company from India, which is called Cred. What they started with was they let you pay your credit card bills through their app. In India, I think there's 1% of the audience that actually owns a credit card. Yeah. So technically, it was a ridiculously small TAM. But today, they gain trust of those people, and this is the set of people who have wallets or have a wallet size to spend. And now that is expanded into a super app where everything for the 1% of India is run into that space. So that's the niche that's been built. I don't think there's a Cred equivalent anywhere in the world, right? If I look at it, it's probably built way down there, and then it started with one core inside.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think there are so many I mean, digital products like Gojek and ByteDance coming out of Asia for the world, so much change, right? Jack, I would ask you in that equation that how much does it matter that capital and culture should come together in this region to then build this digital nation for the world?
I think that's been the gap. I think Asia has led innovation for the last 25 years. We were the largest number of text messages when that was new. Yahoo's search, when it kicked off in Singapore, was the first successful web search. So we've seen Asia be the capital we've led the innovation for a long time, and it's well and truly overdue that the companies who are building those things are Asian companies. So as far as investors go, they really should be focused on those companies in Asia that are doing those things.
No, absolutely. Another thing that I'm very curious about, which Rohit actually mentioned as well, right? That earlier in Asia especially, we used to be more reactive with our investments, reacting to the market. But now we're being more strategic in Asia with our investments, right? What do we see in 5 years, 10 years, 20 years? If you had to give us that comparison that you may have seen earlier and now, what is that?
The problem we have, and the way we've seen the corporate side develop, the issue we have is we don't have a very good secondary market or a very good exit market for regional investors. But there's something we're working on solving, something we've had lengthy discussions with Manit about. That will change. That will definitely change within the next 3 to 5 years. Hopefully sooner, but that potential of an exit of a regional company on a board without the wall that we get when we go to foreign countries for listing. We don't like your accounting, we don't like your lawyers, we can't even spell that guy's name. You have a lot of issues, yes? That's going to change very fast.
Super, thank you so much for answering that question. Kamal, I'll come to you now, right? You guys are doing a super partnership with the BNRY Holdings, and when you announced it, you guys talked about distribution, which is one of my favorite topics when it comes to content, right? Because I feel that in today's world, without distribution, there is nothing when it comes to content, when it comes to influencer marketing. You're in 190 countries, if I'm not right, and you say, and millions of users around the world. How much does, storytelling and distribution matter when it comes to, giving these users a great experience globally? What are your thoughts about that?
Okay, so let me break down into two parts. When it comes to content creators, that talks about one segment of M&E, which is media and entertainment part of it, right? And I will take a step back and again go back to the same conversation where I started. And adding to what Manit just mentioned and Jack already touched upon, there's a transformation which has already happened. We are in 2025 today, right? We all have an access to the digital platform which has already evolved. Now we're looking at efficiencies. Most of the investors are looking at the EBITDAs, no more the gross revenues, right? We are moving to the world where we talk about not just AI, the Gen AIs, right? So why I'm mentioning this point here, same applies to not just the businesses, but to the content creators who are trying to become in an environment which is an aggregated model, right? So I can also quote an example which has really helped us as an organization, Hungama. So Hungama was known as a content aggregator when we initially started off 25 years back. Rightly said, we're live in 190 countries as an OTT. But when it comes to telecom operator, we operate in about 40, 45 countries for now, right? And that is where the money lies for us. See, we, in 190 countries, we are running about 65 million odd users, right?
How many of them are from Asia?
Largely from Asia. I would say that about 80-85% of the consumers are from Asia, right? And given the content strength we bring on board, the consumers who love to consume, say, web series, short formatted videos, long formatted videos. And majority of that again, there is another category which is gaming, right? So if I were to quote some figures, I think currently we hold about $125 billion as a market in gaming segment, which is about 65% of the world, right? So that's the largest chunk that we already contribute to the world, right? And which is growing about 39 or 38 odd% year on year, right? So not just one segment, right? The second part which I would like to highlight here is that we have really tried sort of introducing a sort of platforms where we completely automate things for the content creator, and that's where the question comes again.
Yeah.
How we can leverage the platform, the technology to make the best solutions and bring in ease of use, not just for the consumers, but for the businesses, right? And I'm saying businesses, content creators are trying to make numbers, the business, end of the day, right? So there's a platform called Artist Allowed. I can openly quote that. It's there on the website available. So that we've created an ecosystem for local artists who can come on board, register themselves, upload the song, video, all formatted. And literally, there is zero human intervention. So that's the level of automation we're trying to bring in. And that's where I say, we are in 2025, I think. We need to really leverage this platform and move to a next level where we are justifying the efficiency in all across businesses, right? Yeah, so that's from my side.
Manit, do you want to add in terms of what was exciting about this partnership? When did you think, or just what is exciting? Because you mentioned yesterday about the partnership. So what is the exciting bit for Hungama if it comes together with the BNRY Holdings?
So the exciting part is that it creates, sorry guys, my voice, too much alcohol.
That's okay.
So the exciting part is two different but yet similar platforms partnering together. Instead of going and competing with each other, collaborating with each other and working together and scaling the business. There are certain areas of tokenization, Web3 aspects where we are strong. There are certain aspects of content, games, and different parts of tech where Hungama is strong. There are markets where Hungama is not present. There are markets where we are not present. So by combining the two forces, we are now capturing a larger market, and we are complementing each other's strengths of distribution and creating more value for every user who's a part of our ecosystem. So I think from that perspective, I think this partnership really potentially can change the way things are distributed both in Web 2 and Web 3.
No, absolutely. It sounds super exciting, and especially for people like us who love content and would love to see how you tokenize it and automate a lot of it. So my last question to all of you, and then we can save some time for questions. Paint a picture for me in 2040 of a digital nation that Asia is or will be. Smart cities, whatever you, AI agents, but that's happening already.
Just watch the movie The Minority Report.
Okay, that's fair enough.
In 2040.
I think I didn't mention AI, right, in my initial sort of script, I would say. I keep telling people that AI is the most abused word in most of the forums I attend, and I share my thoughts. That anything and everything which is automated, people start calling it as AI-powered. Any businesses, you go to the website, you see it's AI-powered solution, AI-powered platform, right? Applying chat GPTs of the world or improvising on scripting on so on and so forth is not AI. Why I'm saying so? Because I'm trying to communicate a message that Asian, as a region, we have a mobile-first consumers, the youngest consumers in the region where we live, if you compare the western part of the world, right? Covering about 67 countries, I personally traveled, exchanged my thoughts with the leaders. I think one thing is very common that Asia people look up to. There was a time we used to look up, applying the best practices of the leaders from Western part of the world. I'm not trying to sort of demean anybody here. All I'm trying to mention here is that there's a mammoth of opportunity out there in the region. And given the fact that there is an adoption of online payment, I think the gentleman was mentioning on the stage that if I'm in, say, Indonesia or Cambodia's of the world, people have stopped using cash. With using a mobile phone, I can make the payment for a simple auto rickshaw or a taxi. If I'm not carrying, I don't have to actually carry wallet. And that's where the opportunity lies, right? People were scared of exchanging their personal information on the website or probably share their credit card details on the website. No more the case, I think. There is an adoption of AI, plus there is an adoption of banking, which is done digitally. I think that's where I feel, I strongly believe Asia has I think, opportunity to grow further, 2x or 3x. And like I said, I think Manit mentioned, $1 billion is easily possible in Asia region itself. We don't have to be dependent on other region. Within this region, I myself have handled about 140 million consumers, which were consuming our services for free. So that's the scale as Hungama, we've experienced. We've enjoyed those. And I think that's how I see TBH to grow as we move forward with this partnership. Yeah.
And also, I don't think Kamal meant $1 billion. He meant 1 billion users.
Oh, sorry. My bad.
Yes.
Sorry.
I was about to say the same.
Yeah. I'm more of a number guy, Manit.
Man, same.
Yeah.
I think by 2040 we're going to see a world that is not app dependent, OS dependent. They're the types of things that Manit and I have had lengthy discussions about. We're building infrastructure at the back end. What Manit's doing at the front end and the longer term vision is what the world will look like. There's far too much segregation. It's too difficult to do so many things. I think I have 8 different messengers I have to check. It drives me crazy. I have 3 different emails I have to check. All that's going to disappear. And I'll be able to move money from my equity trading or futures trading over to here and spend it in a store in a country I'm visiting in a different currency, and I'll be able to do that seamlessly. And that's what the future will look like.
That sounds like a beautiful future, because when I travel, because I'm not used to taking out cash from the ATM machine at all, because India is fully digital when it comes to cash, and I really struggle. So yes, Rohit.
I think everybody's answered a large part of this piece. I don't know if I have much to add. Probably I can add what I hope for is maybe
that's a great
borderless, seamless world of transactions, users, engagement, everything of that sort. So Asia as a one entity is what I would look at as a future.
I would add without war.
Yes.
Wars are good. Enrich cash flow.
Ask people in India right now. But let's open up this panel for questions. And we already have one. Yay, I like that.
Yeah, this is Sainul again from Me27 Singapore. So we have many technologies and technology companies across Asia, right? But none of them, I don't think any of them has really, been successful in terms of tackling many divides in society, right? Digital divide or income inequality. So how can the next digital nation from Asia be more inclusive, which can tackle all these different kinds of divides in society?
See, sir, it's all a part of the mind shift, the change, right? If I see 15, 20 years ago, people were all about, hey, let me go to the US and build something. Let me go to Europe and do something. I think now it's the reverse thing. Let me come to Asia, right? So I think there's definitely a paradigm shift in how behavior is changing, number one. Number two, if you look at Asia, I think Asia and definitely a few countries within Asia are the fastest adopters or fastest growing markets for blockchain technologies, Web3, and so on, Number 3, when you want to build a digital nation, the best thing is to not tell anybody that you are building something, and include them and make them a part of it. So while they start using it as if it was the same activity that they were doing yesterday, it evolves, and by default, or the nature of that, you end up building a digital nation. So from that perspective, I see Asia being maybe first or fastest to becoming the home for the next digital nation.
Yeah, and inclusively so, I think. Anyone else wants to also take the question? And there is one more. Darpan, you can keep the mic if you want.
Hi, I'm Mike Ang from Singapore. You talk about Asia. Where is China in all this?
Part of Asia.
I know, but what are you going to do about it? It's a separate ecosystem. Everything is different.
No, that's okay.
You can't even get Facebook and get Google in there.
No, that's fine. See, they don't get Facebook and Google and all because US and China are trying to spy at each other, right? They're trying to get data. So that's probably their personal problems. But if you ask me personally, China is, if we go to China, for example, we have to create a separate instance for the Chinese market. When we do that, we are going in, we are connecting, but there are different pipes that are already connected globally. So when you look from that perspective, China automatically becomes an inclusive part of the digital nation within Asia. Now, you could have China as one digital nation. You could have Thailand as another digital nation. You could have India as another digital nation. So instead of having one block as a digital nation, you might have multiple entities within that block as a digital nation who are then communicating with each other in a more seamless and interoperable fashion, where the problems of not having WhatsApp, not having Gmail, not having this doesn't matter anymore in that ecosystem.
So isn't blockchain the glue?
No, not really. I mean, you can have blockchain everywhere, it's a common thing, but the common glue is the way users perceive payments, the way users perceive seamless payments. So when I mean interoperable and seamless payments, so it's not like I'm paying in yuan, I'm paying in Thai baht, I'm paying in INR. No, there's one single currency that you're paying with across nation. It's like Star Alliance. I might have miles and more points, or I might have Royal Orchid points from Thai Airways, but at the end of the day, within the same ecosystem, I can use the Star Alliance points, which becomes the common denominator. So that's how I would probably put it across, how different nations can communicate with each other without having the barriers of geopolitical nonsense. And the moment you remove PII, which is your personal information, it's just behaviors, users, personas, which are being distributed. And I don't think a China based on the user persona of a American citizen can actually figure out what that guy is trying to do, and vice versa. It's more about becoming commerce-enabled rather than becoming a place where you're always on a Cold War. That's how I see China becoming a part of the digital nation. Any other question? Oh, very good. We have 1 minute left, so we got it done on time. Yeah. Super.
Yes, I think just to actually add, I started with saying ByteDance. Obviously, there's so much innovation that has come from China that we learned from. So, so I think that we are, and the core, at the core of it, it's trust and credibility that I think is the foundation of what we're talking about. So I hope that's what the takeaway is from this. Thank you so much.
Thank you.